All right, I think I'm live. Oh my goodness. Thank you for your patience, everybody. This took me a little while to figure out how I'm going to do this, and I had the camera set up far away. And so I'm sitting down here on the floor. This is me right here. So you may see glimpses of my body, and I may, towards the end of the video, turn in the opposite direction so we can have a face-to-face chat. But hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Sadhana, and I have never done a tour of my tarot shelf, and I have a couple of reasons that I wanted to take this on today. And one is that I need to kind of have a look at what's going on my little rack here that I use for live readings on Tuesdays. And I really am considering divesting some decks. And also I want to think about what's going to be on my shelf for the fall season and for Halloween. So lots of reasons for doing this tour. So I also thought this would be kind of a fun thing to do this afternoon. So I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Thanks for your patience. Hello, Michelle, My Voice Tarot, Kyle, welcome, welcome, welcome. Sacred Turtle. Nice to have you all here. Miriam. Wow, hello to you too. Okay, and Adriana, Tarot Shelf. Yes, this is my tarot shelf. These are only tarot cards except for a few Lenormand over in the corner, which I'll show you. And I have another whole other cupboard that is Oracle. And that will definitely be another day, another video. Hello, Mossy Faye. And Marg, Annette. I am looking at my phone, so you can see me on my phone here. I will be following the chat on the phone because I can't see my computer the way I had to set this up. So this took me a little bit of doing, but let's go for it. So I'm just going to put the phone down, and then I will come back to that. So first of all, I want to say that I have a bunch of storage boxes where a lot of the decks that come in big boxes, so some of them are in bags, right? So they're not necessarily in the large boxes. So what you're looking at here is how I work with the decks. And I do a lot of deck rotating depending on the month, what I'm doing. I also have my little basket, which I've shown quite a few times, and I take that basket when I'm going out into the community to do readings, which I still do from time to time, even though it is, even with the current circumstances. So I'm going to move this over to the side. This, by the way, is Acrylic Shelf, one of two that I have that I used when I was doing craft fairs years ago. And I used them, I used to make greeting cards. And so that was, that's what I used it for. So now it works really well as a tarot shelf. So I'm assuming I'm not going to mess with the camera. So I'm going to pull things out as we go through. And then I'll try to remember to come back and forth to the comments. So we're going to start down in the bottom corner and over here. So these are all the large box decks that the cards are still in the large boxes. And so I'm going to pull some of these out and forward so we can look at them. And I've got lots of things to say and to share. So, and I'm just, yeah, I can look at the camera on my computer. So the Enchanted Tarot, which I have, which I really like to work with from time to time. I kept this large box out just because sometimes I really like to look at this beautiful large box. It does have a home in a bag, which I made here. And this Enchanted Tarot is just, I don't know, it's a really special deck, and I've shown it on storytelling videos and things like that. And I didn't trim it, and it's just one of those beautiful fairy tale kind of energies, mythological energies. I love these colors. And as I'm looking at the colors here, just fanning this out, I'm thinking this might be a really nice deck to have out for fall. I'm really liking the golds and the greens. And I'm also thinking that I need to create a pile of kind of fairy tale, mythological storytelling decks and decide which 2 or 3 I'm going to keep. So this is definitely going to be up there in the keep pile, and I'm going to add probably to that pile. So that's a pile I'm going to start. Things like John Bauer and things like that are going to go in that pile. The Druidcraft Tarot. I have this large box from Edison, which is fairly new, as well as the smaller box. And this one is uncut. And I decided to rebuy this deck after I had chopped up my 3 Druid plant, Druid animal, Druid craft, cut the borders all off of them. And I remember one day I was reading in the guidebook about the energy that was in the borders. And I thought, you know, if I ever want to study the OMs and work with the OMs and start throwing OMs and things like that, that I want to have these decks. And also, of course, you know, you have to have the large guidebook, and the large guidebook doesn't come with the little cards. So we'll get to the little cards. They're somewhere in this. The trimmed cards are somewhere in this cupboard. And that large guidebook, I go to it a lot from time to time. It's so full of inspiration and wisdom. I love the way that it is written. Up above here, which maybe I'll switch the camera angle after and show you. I've got all kinds of books above here, tarot, spiritual books, yoga, and other stuff. But let's just kind of go through decks. Antique Anatomy. I showed this recently. This is fairly new to my collection, but I really wanted to have this tarot, which has been published under many, many names. I believe not many, a few different names. I really like Oracle of Oddities, and I have I wanted a tarot to go with it. So this is the mass market version. Comes in this really kind of interesting box nested in here. And one of the things that came up in a reading recently was, this is in a live readings, and somebody asked me if they were going to get into biochemistry or biology, or whether they were going to have to go into another science or so forth. And this deck happened to be on my table, and it really, really helped me with that particular question. So that is the Antique Anatomy. And my intention with this deck and with the Oracle of Oddities, I used it a lot with my Reiki students. I found it was kind of an interesting deck to start conversation. This is the Shadowland box, which I have not put away. And you can see it's on my, I pulled it out just the other day because I'm going to have it out for the fall season. So Shadowland Tarot, and the book is living in here. It's not really a book that I need to have out on my shelf. It's an amazing book. I believe I classified this book as #1 in my companion books, just because of the thoroughness and all that is included. It has journal prompts and so forth, and it's just amazing, amazingly written. It's got so many resources on the back as well too. So if you are looking for a deck with an excellent companion book for the fall, Shadowland might be a great deck to go to. This is the Telluric Tarot. This is the only crystal tarot deck that I have. I don't know actually how many are out there. I also don't think I have any. Actually, that's not true. I have a couple crystal oracle decks, and I'll just check in with the chat after I show this one. So this deck, I would absolutely love to be part of the rework of this deck. This deck has so much going for it. One is that the creator is a certified gemologist. And in the drawing of also an artist, in the drawing of the crystals, it was really important to her that she got the what do you call it? The shape, the crystalline qualities of each of the crystals correct. I love the way that the guidebook is written, that you actually get information about the plant and the crystal, and then you get an oracle message as well too. However, I don't like that it is so difficult to identify the suits. You really need to memorize the deck if you're going to work with it and have the information at the tip of your hand. So it definitely does need some work and re-edit. And you know, Bonfire, I like this deck and I've pulled it out so many times. It's probably going to come out over the next couple of weeks. And I still haven't trimmed it. And I really, really want to trim this deck, at least take the edges off the side, because it would be so much better if we could get rid of these borders on the side. And because it's black, I need to purchase a guillotine, a really super sharp guillotine cutter. And I haven't done that. The one that I want to purchase, this is one of just a lovely card. I like this one, is so darn expensive. So yeah, and that's one of the reasons it's not out a lot and you don't see it a lot on my videos, is because I really want to trim it. So this is the box for the Marianne. It's just living up there. And that's probably going to go away. So I'm just going to put my glasses on and see who else is showing up here. And if you have questions, please let me know. So we're still on the bottom shelf. Alrighty. Oh, hello. Okay, where am I? Where was I at? Marg is here. Hello to Marg. Amy, the Great for sure. Hello. If I'm considering divesting any animal or nature-based decks, I'd be very interested. Well, I will keep that in mind. And I will be posting, of course, and carrying on this conversation once I figure out what it is I'm doing. Yes, I love the way the acrylic shelf over here. I like the way it organizes and shows off. Good evening to the Mystic Rose Tarot. Yes. So, IT guy, hello, Joe. Nice to have you here. So, of course, my doorbell is ringing, but Amber, can you answer the door, please? Thank you. Hello, Fairy Wren Whispers. Nice to have you here. Okay. Sorry, just bear with me here. So, Marianne Tarot. Raven's Prophecy Tarot is one that... Sorry, guys. Can you sit with her for a minute, please, until she calms down?
Yeah, I can.
Thank you. Okay, so this deck, there's something really suitable for the season in Raven's Prophecy Tarot, just because of the coloration and so forth. It's a deck I hardly ever have out, so I really think pulling this deck out for the fall, of course, you can see all the, it's an orange border, and there's a lot of orange. I like the pippishness in this deck. And you know what? I'm actually going to pull this out and have this out for the fall or for Halloween. So I'm going to actually leave this one to the side. Look at the death card. It's kind of cool, actually. I think this is a really good exercise for me to do. So I'm going to actually leave that one out. That might go on Tarot Shelf. Lion Strider. So Lion Strider and Other Kin, I can pull those out together. So Cielo Thompson is somebody who I started last week, Creator Stories, and Cielo Thompson is someone I would love to have on my channel. I would love to get into her brain and pick her brain. I found the Lion Strider was an amazing deck for me as an intuitive reader. And as I began to grow my confidence in reading intuitively and stepping away from everything that I had learned as a from books and resources and so forth. And I had this deck out in my basket, traveling around with me for a long time. And it was definitely a working deck for, I don't know, like how many, a couple of years. And when I saw the other kin, I just had to have the other kin. And there was a couple of the cards. There's one that reminds me so much of Oscar Wilde or something like that. This one has animals and humans. I've done walkthroughs of, and side by side actually, of other kin and the, this is the box here. So you can see the cards on the bottom of humans and, sorry, half human, half animal as well too. This is a wonderful, I will not be getting rid of this deck. There's something about her art, and I love the way that these decks just allow me to, I don't know, be me. So they don't feel very fallish to me, so they're not going to be coming out at this time. The Tarot of the Hidden Realm is definitely coming out. It's just has that beautiful fall energy. It's one of my absolute favorite fairy fae decks that is never going to leave my collection. The Victorian Fairy Tarot is a deck that I have out in the spring. It feels very springish to me. This is the French version. I would eventually love to invest in the English version. And this color palette here just feels really springy to me. I mean, I could see for sure this could be out in the autumn, and the suit of autumn in this deck is really stunning. The other thing about the Victorian Fairy Tarot is that because it is organized, the minors, by seasons, it's one of those beautiful decks. And I would highly recommend this as a beginner deck to get into tarot timings. Like if you wanted to really work with timings in tarot, this deck is, it's really, really beautiful for that. So yeah, the French, I actually got this on Amazon.fr. So I don't think it's available anymore on there either, so unfortunately. And the French guidebook is all yellow as well too. I don't know if the English guidebook is yellow. So yeah, so that will come out in the spring. Mystic Fairy Tarot. Now I do have the borderless and the bordered version. This is close up there on a favorite fae deck. This one is the borderless version. And this is quite a unique deck in that within the minor arcana, and I have done I believe five videos on this deck. That's quite the double card. I just wanted to show you a couple. I do not like the Magician in this deck at all. Absolutely love the Strength card. That's one of my favorite cards in this deck. And so the unique thing about the minors in this, I don't know if I can show you, is that there's a story. There's a story built in. So for example, in the Suit of Cups, there is a little fae love story that is built in. And if you have the large guidebook, you get the full story of these three friends and all that happens with these nymphs. And in the little white book, if you get the deck with the little white book, you don't get the full story. So if you are a lover of tarot and story, and if you, I don't know, like if you were using this as a healing tool with, I don't know, with young, I was going to say children, but a little bit older children, it might be really, it might be a really good thing to have around. This one here, Animal Totem Tarot, was a recommendation by one of you lovely people. And I'm going to pause and look at the chat in a second. And this is a deck that I have not taken the time to get to know. And I did look at it briefly, and I actually quite like the card backs. The card backs are really interesting. These are the card backs. And I'm going to shift my cushion so I can show these cards better. Shift my cushion. And hopefully I don't knock over any camera equipment. The artwork is, that's the High Priestess. It's not my favorite animal deck. And this is one that I may be willing to release from my collection. But because I haven't used it, I really need to give it due consideration. So what I'm going to do is pull out all of my animal decks and probably do an update on my animal deck, tarot deck, and decide at that time. That's a great, great tower card. So yeah, so that's the Animal Totem Tarot, illustrated by Eugene Smith. Alrighty, let's go back to the chat. Thank you guys for your patience with Amber's outbursts. Real life Sadhana, you're fine, yes. Okay. The Mystic Rose Tarot. No sacrilege to cut into a deck for me. These are spiritual tools. I can't bear to trim, etc. Maybe coloring the borders, but that's pushing it. Oh, so you never trim. Yeah, you're probably talking about when I was way back talking about the Druid craft. So that's really interesting. If you, yeah, because I know there's a lot of people out there, crafty people, doing videos about trimming decks, and there's something, and this is another issue with crappy nesting boxes, but that's not the topic of conversation here. Now, the Llewellyn Tarot is another deck that I repurchased because I trimmed off the borders. And so I have this copy, which is not trimmed. And the reason I repurchased this one, and I absolutely love the majors in this deck, was because you have the Welsh name up at the top. And in the guidebook, Anna Maria Ferguson goes into such beautiful detail with the association of the background of the location in Wales and the mythology around that location. In the minors, there's nothing up here, and there is no association with any particular legend or anything. I mean, we do have the Grail Cup and so forth, but it's the majors in this deck that are absolutely amazing. And so I have my little trimmed copy on the tarot shelf right now. And what I might do is actually swap that out and put the other ones on. I'm just thinking out loud here. So yeah, so I might put the trimmed ones away for now. Okay. Let's go over here. So we have Green Witch, which isn't in my possession. I believe there's no card. Oh, there are cards in here. Actually, you know what? I have 2 copies of this deck. So if anybody was interested in the Green Witch cards, without a box or a guidebook, because I have 2 copies of this. And what happened was I complained loudly about the card stock to Llewellyn, I'm assuming, right? Llewellyn. And they sent me another deck, and it was exactly the same crappy card stock. So yeah, so I have 2 copies. So let me know. I mean, I can, I'm happy to package that up. So it would come with no box and no guidebook. And the other copy is with one of my daughters. She absolutely adores this deck and resonates with it. So yeah. So here we have Forest of Enchantment, Megan, Japarizzi, 8 coins, Austera, and then these 3 here are new to my collection. And I believe it was Candy Morgan who had included the inner child cards on a rainbow video. And I was so intrigued. So I'll get to those in a bit. Forest of Enchantment was a deck that I hesitated in buying for a long time. I really felt like I did not need another animal deck. I really didn't. So this deck, which is not all animals, many of you have, it has just the most amazing humans in it as well too. This is in order. The humans are just so enchanting. And I have a feeling this one needs to go out on the shelf. Oh my God, look at this. Okay, this is definitely going to go out on the shelf for fall. So there we go. So yeah, so that's why I hesitated in buying it. That's why you haven't seen it on my channel. I didn't get it when everybody else got it, and it just, I delayed in buying it. Now the Pagan Tarot, I have 2 copies of, and I will be releasing one of those copies. This is the edition that came out with the larger guidebook, and these cards are borderless. And I'm going to be keeping this deck. I really appreciate again, this is a book deck that tells a story of this little young witch, and her story goes throughout the tarot. And this is her journey with her coven and her relationship in and out of the coven, in life within the circle of witches and outside the circle. And I'm definitely not going to part with this deck. So I have the borderless deck and the one with the little white book as well too, which I will be releasing. And the reason I purchased this was because I was so curious about the background story. And in the larger guidebook, you get the background story. And that is so often the case with tarot decks, isn't it? That you get, you don't get enough information in the little white books. And so that's kind of lesson to self. When we get to the smaller deck, I'm going to put that in a pile of decks I'm willing to release. Japarizzi. So this is not the current version. And I have not trimmed this deck. So, and it is also, it's not a deck that I use ever. I really don't need this other than once in a while to look at the artwork. So this may be a deck that I'm releasing. There's a few cards that I absolutely love, but I don't feel that. So I'm going to put this into a pile of cards that are original art. And, or is this, yeah, I guess this is original art. And, or maybe in some of the curated decks as well too, because I really don't think that this is a deck that I need to keep in my collection. There was a few tarot tubers that just raved about it, but it's just not a deck that I'm really attracted to. So let's go back here and see what's going on. Alrighty. So Kalu says, Sadhana, when you try out the Animal Totem Tarot, use one or two of the spreads in the book. They are very, very good. Okay, I will do that. Definitely. Thank you for that tip. Hello, Essence. Oh, what are you edging? Let us know what you are working on. My Voice Tarot. Animal Totem is one of the fully non-human animal ones, I believe, which makes it very unusual. So what I'm going to do is also look at the animal decks that have cups and swords and human objects in them as well too, because I'm not really crazy about that. I definitely will be keeping Naked Heart. I love that deck. So there's a few that probably will go. Essence is edging African American Tarot. Backs are brown and white, and I'm edging it in copper. Ooh, that sounds beautiful. And I'll look up that deck too. I don't have that one. That's amazing. Okay. And The Moon Loves Me loves Forest of Enchantment. So that's going to be out on my shelf. And Japaritsi is on My Voice Tarot's list. Okay. So let us go on. So I don't know how many of you guys are going to be in for the long haul here. So my give up, my release pile is going to be over here. Okay, and this is cards that are going onto the shelf. All right, 8 Coins Tattoo Tarot. So this deck, I don't use it. And I spent quite a bit. The book is actually really, really good. And I love this. I love this pattern. I think this is on is this on the wheel or is this on the 8 of Wands? It's so cool. I trimmed this deck. I edged it in red. I did not trim the extra cards. So in this deck, she includes earlier versions of the cards. Those are not trimmed. And wow, like I really like some of this art. Let me scoot over here. And I'll go back in the chat and you guys tell me if you use this deck, because I don't know, it's like now I pull it out and I edged this one in red, which took, I can't tell you how many coats that took to get that till I was semi-happy with it, because it kept looking pink and then I wanted kind of blood red. See, I don't like that card, nor that one. That one's okay. This is the card. So this is the 8 of Wands. Yeah. And that's a pretty cool 6 of Swords. And I love the attitude on this 7 of Swords. So yeah, so there's a few cards I like. And I find like this moon card, while I love the moon cycles over here, it doesn't really fit into the style of the rest of the card. And there's a couple of cards that are like that. So this is really a deck that I don't need to keep. So it may very well be. Yeah, this is definitely going to go in the divesting pile. Don't really like that card either. So, okay. That was easy. This is going in the divesting pile. Okay. So Ostera is a collaborative deck. And Ostera was created by these 4 girls while they were at, or some of them had graduated from a art school in Vancouver, British Columbia called Emily Carr. And I believe that's where they met, or they got connected by one of their teachers. And so I was really interested in the story. And again, this is a kind of, for me, this feels a bit like a spring deck. And it's very hard to get the cards out of the box. And I'm not really sure that I need to keep Ostera either. Right? Ostera for Easter. But it does really suit the mood of Easter. There's a lot of animals in this deck. And there's a few cards I love and hate, like the, I don't know, this King of Pentacles is pretty cool. And each of the minor suits was created by one artist, and then they each did a few of the majors. So I don't know. And that's a pretty stunning card, right? But if you look at it, it is an 8. And do you know what it is? Sometimes, because I don't use this deck, I need to go back to the guidebook just to confirm what some of the cards are. So this is definitely going to go into the divesting pile because I don't really need this deck anymore. Alrighty. I'm going to go to these 3 next. This is Ancestral Path. Ancestral Path is an oversized deck, so it's about like a tarot card and a half or even more. And this was a deck that was recommended to me. I was doing a lot of past life readings, and this deck includes a lot of different cultures. This is the six of Wands. Look at that card. Pretty crazy, eh? 6 of Staves, Princess of Cups. And so if you're doing past life readings, so the reason I've done a couple of videos maybe on past life readings. And I do it in card combination for sure to try to get as many different energies into the reading as possible. And the reason that I do past life readings is to help people, help clients move through patterns that they are struggling with. There's the Hanged One. And so this deck has that. But I'm not really in love with the art style. So what I might do is beautiful Japanese scene here as well too. What I may do is go through the collection of decks that I use for past life readings and decide, if I really need to keep this one or not, but it's not immediately going to go into the giveaway pile. This is a very unique little deck. It's my only deck. This is the Lowrider Dashing Tarot created by Melissa Wotherspoon. Look at the little doggy. And for me, this is a grief deck. This is a deck that it's just so sweet. So, and that moon card, oh my God, it's just so beautiful. So that we've got the wolf in the moon here. That's the death card. There is an alternative death card. So this, I'm definitely keeping. And this is, so this is kind of my go-to grief card. Sorry, grief reading. So grief, especially grief in relation to loss of life. Herb Crafters, which I show a lot. I'm just going to take that off the acrylic rack. And I don't know where the book is. I'll have to get that. So Herb Crafters is here. Herb Crafters is a deck that's probably not quite ready to put away for the season, but I really love this deck. And I eventually will trim 3 sides off this deck. So actually, if I trim it, this is a deck. So if you trim this from the back, you're going to, actually, maybe I'll do that this weekend. I'm going to trim it, I think. Love, love, love this deck. I love the medicine in this deck. I love this deck even more than the Gaian Tarot. Same creator. And there's more information in the guidebook by Letitia Guthrie. So this I'm going to trim. All right, so let's go to these 3 large boxes over here. And probably what I was thinking And they're different artists. That's the problem. I was under the impression that I was going to have, they're all by Isha Lerner and Mark Lerner. So the guidebooks, but they all have different artists. And I was so intrigued when Candy, I think it was Candy, showed this. Now look how big these cards are. They're ginormous. And this is going to go into the working with children's pile. These cards are super thin. They're like paper. So gotta be really careful in shuffling these cards. And I'm going to have a really good look at these in relationship to John Bower and other kind of fairy tale decks that I have. And this one might have its own place, but there's something really special about the color, and I definitely don't regret buying it. I needed to have this in hand to grasp my own opinion. These 3 decks are published by Bear and Co. So I didn't have anything from that company, and so I had nothing to. So I'm going to put this with. It's really I was going to say I'm going to compare it against Enchanted, but it doesn't. This is actually. I'm going to compare this with the Spanish deck that I have, the Fairy Tale Tarot. That might be a really good one. Now, this one, the Tarot of the 4 Elements, will not be leaving my collection for sure. The book, I think the book is in my car. I was reading it on the ferry. So this is another one of these annoying 2-part boxes. Love the card backs. And I'm going to just try to get them all out here. Really excited about this deck. And this does not feel like a fall deck to me, but I am. So here we go. Can you see 6 of air, 7 of air? I feel that so there's the air, there's the Fool. So I was looking at a lot of Mel Brown's artwork and Melanie Brown from Australia. And this kind of felt really similar to me. And I'm really intrigued with this artwork. So this feels like I want to dive into this deck for sure. And the guidebook is amazing. That's why it's in my car. I'm reading it really slowly. So yeah, that's the Tarot of the 4 Elements. And all of these 3 decks that I'm showing you now, the guidebook is by Isha Lerner. So yeah. Okay, and then this one, the Triple Goddess Tarot. So these are going to take me a while to get to know. It's oracle size and it's majors only. And I don't think I realized it was majors only when I purchased it. So it's majors only plus a few extra cards. That's the 0. So I'm probably not going to keep this one. It's beautiful. Could easily trim this one and just use the goddess pictures, right? Use it as an oracle. That's gorgeous. So that's 9. So that's your hermit card. But this is really pretty much an oracle deck unto its own. Yeah. So Kundalini Rising is number 16. That's really cool. Crossover with the Tower card. And then the extra cards are chakra cards. So I don't know. I'm going to have another look at that. So there's the extra 6 cards, chakra cards. Anyway, so I will be reviewing, and not reviewing on my channel, but taking a closer look at these decks and just seeing what's going on. So that's my bottom shelf. That's my bottom shelf. So how's everybody doing here? I'm gonna go back. Oh, so I'm going back to your comments all the way back to the 8 coins edged in red too. I have 8 coins, and I think I'd use it more if I trimmed it. I like a lot of the art, says Kyle. Okay. I'm looking at My Voice Tarot's comment. She says, or I don't know if My Voice is a she, I'm sorry. They say some Ostera cards are amazing and some I'm really into and some not. Keep debating. Paper Moon, same kind of comment before. Michelle Klassen's here. Hello, Michelle. Sissy, I really want to buy the Animal Totem Tarot, but I'm having a hard time with the animals that are hurt or killed, like in the 5 of Pentacles. That is a real consideration. And so when I redo my Animal Tarot video, I'm going to have a look at that, because you're not the only one. And a lot of people are not comfortable with animals that have swords stabbed into them and so forth. So, yeah. And Kyle, the last comment I'm reading here is she loves the Triple Goddess, but have never been able to figure out who the characters are. And that bothers me. So yeah, it's some decks really take a lot of work to get to know, and I find that the getting to know sometimes is worthwhile and other times not so much. Marielle is here, and I've been using it a lot lately, but it's going to go away for a little while. So love. I don't need to show you Marielle, do I? This version, this might seem like sacrilege, but for those of you that don't trim decks, this was the gold version, and I actually trimmed off the sides, and then I edged the long sides in gold myself. So yeah. I do not have the current version of the Marielle, and that long box kind of just sits up there. Okay, so I am going to, that one, so hard to put the box away. Okay. Can you see me? You can sort of see me now. Let's kind of go over here. And this needs to come down here. These are all Tarot de Marseille or Marseille-esque. And so I'm just going to put these down here for now. So all the Tarot de Marseille. Okay. Alrighty. So I know there's going to be some decks here that are divested. Alrighty. So this is my kind of my Rider-Waite corner over here. And way back here in the corner is the complete tarot kit. And this little kit, I'm going to keep, I might gift it to a beginner who walks into my life. I don't know, it's just a nice little gift. This little kit comes with, I think this is a Celtic Cross big sheet. It comes with a tarot journal. It comes with a big guidebook that compares it doesn't compare, but it describes on the same pages side by side the Thoth and the Rider-Waite. And this is quite old. So this box is so old it doesn't have a one of those scan codes on it. So I don't know when I got it. And the Rider-Waite that comes in is the one with the plaid backs. And they're not mini, but they're definitely they're little cards. So yeah. And this is my This is my only straight up Thoth deck that I actually have. That is not something I have ventured into studying. So yeah, here is the black and gold tarot. This one is actually really cool to shuffle. I love the box as well too. Like it's got this, this kind of reminds me of a cigar box or something. My father once upon a time used to smoke cigars. And this is velvet. Yeah. So, and it's a gold version of the Rider-Waite, gold and black. Anyway, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to keep it, but it's not a deck I pull out. And you know what would be really fun? Like I never go to black tie events anymore, just where I'm living and my lifestyle and so forth. But I'm just thinking this would be so much fun to have at a black tie event. And that's a reason to keep it. But the before tarot and after tarot, and this one's shaking around because I pulled out Corinne's guidebook. There's some really good info in this guidebook, and I was rereading, and I'm planning on doing at some point a series of videos on timings in tarot, and I was just intrigued with what she had to say in this book, so that's why I can hear there's no book in here, the cards are flying around. I don't particularly need to keep these decks. I do not have the vice versa. And so I will not be purchasing the vice versa or any other decks in this style that come out. But for teaching, tarot teaching, these are, I think, important conversations to have when I'm working with tarot students. And so that's why they're in my collection, not for reading. And this one, I definitely don't need this deck. This can go into, I mean, this is a beautiful box and everything. This is the New Vision. And some of them are facing forward and some of them are facing back. So in the New Vision, so that one you see the background, this one you see back to front. I'm not sure why I purchased this. I purchased this around the same time that I got the before tarot and the after tarot. But I don't really need to keep, I mean, it does give you food for thought. And this one does have different angles and different ideas than the before and after tarot. But I really don't need it. I think that will go into the divesting pile. And this shape box, how did they go together? Like this? I really don't like these boxes. So that's going in the divesting pile. Scooting over. I think I'll abandon the cushion. Okay, so this pile we'll talk about. And then over here, I have the Radiant Wise. Which I never use. I'm just not a big Rider-Waite girl, you know, and I'm not sure about that. This is the Thelema Tarot. And the only reason that I kept this deck and I haven't already passed it on was, well, first of all, the name and the whole idea about Thelema, but I really liked the suit of swords in this deck. But I'm not a fan of this photorealistic artwork. So, I mean, you see a lot of four swords like that, hey, in the meditative pose. What I just wanted to show you briefly was, Some of the photoshopping in this deck is really bad. You can see, like in the skirts and in the veils, you can see other things that didn't, the layers that didn't get hidden. Yeah, so I don't need to keep this deck. It's I will never use it. And if you like the Suit of Swords in this deck is really good. So that's going over there. This is the Vix Tarot. It's really cute. It's really cute. It's little. It's little. And this is another deck that I don't need to keep. I will never use this for a reading. So Vix is the story of this little bunny. Little bunny. Yeah. But if you like little decks and you collect little decks, it's little. It's around, let's see, what do I have to show, compare this with? Let's go up here to Tarot Trees. It's a different shape than Tarot of Trees. So if you have Tarot of Trees, it's skinnier. I'll keep it out. I'll keep it out of its box and I'll show you when I get to the little decks. So that's Vix. Alrighty. So this pile here, I'm not going to show you all the cards. And I will, can you see this pile here? Where are we looking here? So this is the Groovy Weight, and here's the Trip and Weight. And I did a video on both of these and that. This is a new version of the scent, new to me. So I have a nice clean copy. This is the Smith Weight. This is the Universal Weight. This white box here is Deck of the Bastard, which I am going to buy a pouch for. And actually, this one, this is the RWS. This was the one that I was hoping. So this one has one, can you see? This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. So this one has 8 by 4, 32 of the flowers on the back. I thought this was a different deck than it is. So this is one with the 32 flowers on the back. Yeah, so I was buying this one for collection purposes, and it may or may not be hanging around in my collection. Because I would think I was looking for the precursor of the Radiant Wise Spirit. That is why I purchased that one, the Pamela Coleman Smith RWS. Alrighty, and then Winter Weight. This is not the border. This is the, which version of the Winter Weight is this? This is the one with the plaid backs. And yeah, this is the borderless one with no titles, which is, it's really fun to have out at Christmas time. So I will be keeping that one. Okay. So there we go. Those are RWS and the Deck of the Bastard. And I did a video, a collection video of most or all of these decks. And so you can see those on the on that. And after this processes, I'm going to do some linking of my walkthroughs in cards above, if people are interested in that. Okay, so Tarot de Marseille, Tarot de Jean Dodal, Tarot de Jacques Viavi. These are from, so these are by Flournoy, and I believe it's tarothistory.com. These two decks, as well as the Noble, which is a little small Tarot de Marseille. So I started doing Tarot de Marseille videos, And I'm definitely going to go back to it. I am so intrigued, and I love history, and it's an important part of, I'm going to show you these two. It's an important part, I think, of my continuing and ongoing tarot study. And this is absolutely one of my favorite decks, La Corte de Tarot. And the artwork is by Anna Maria Donofino. And I love the feel of these cards. I love the size of these cards. It's just a really special deck. It has that amazing, it's a little bit like the paper on, well, it's not. It's matte. If there's little or no coating on them, they're an amazing shape. They're so beautiful. Like that Knight of Pentacles. And the suit of Pentacles are the colors are amazing. So I love the feel of these cards in my hands. They're absolutely stunning. So as far as Il Mananghello decks, I have this one. And then I have the Soprafino, this one. And these are also narrow. They're just not as long. And this is part of an ongoing study. And also some of these cards are featured in the deck of the Master. And it's really, really fun when you see some of these historical decks. Where are you guys? There you are. Isn't that, I have two. There's a double. I didn't even realize that. So these are, so this deck I haven't used yet. This deck is, like I said, part of an ongoing study. Look at that Luna card. Crazy, beautiful. So I decided when I did the, because I was looking for the Corte de Tarot for quite some time. It wasn't available. And then when it was available, I decided that I was going to purchase two decks. The shipping was probably the same as one deck. So yeah, that's that. And then as far as other, oh, actually there's quite a few here, which I'm not going to, somebody asked me about 1JJ Swiss and whether I thought 1JJ Swiss was a Tarot de Marseille, and it was really inexpensive, and I purchased it on eBay. And so when I get back to my Tarot de Marseille videos, I'm going to address that. This is the newer backs for the Tarot des Arts. So this is my backup copy, and I have the original one. So I absolutely love the Tarot. It's actually not Tarot des Arts. Laurie LePage calls it Tarot de Beaux-Arts. So if it were Beautiful Liaison in French, it would be Tarot des Arts, but it's Tarot de Beaux-Arts. So the Ozarks, from the Ozarks. So I have two copies of that. This is Tarot de Maria Celia, and a lot of these I have shown in other videos. And this used to live over with my tin decks, but now I'm wanting to keep my Tarot de Marseille all together. I have two copies of Triomphe de la Luna. This is the standard version, and I also have the paradoxical, which is not here. It's unopened. It's in a drawer of unopened boxes, and that is not there. Okay. So I will not be divesting these because this is part of an ongoing tarot study. The CBD Tarot de Marseille, the Medieval Scapini is amazing. I'm going to show you this one. This one is really something. If you like medieval artwork, this is a US Games deck. And look at these backs. They are really, really beautiful. And this is crappy US Games cardstock. This is like that Llewellyn cardstock that a lot of people don't like. So This I purchased as a historical deck for its beauty, and I'm planning on just using this as I go through and study and continue to learn more about Tarot de Marseille. So the minors in this deck, hold on, let's get there, are not straight up Tarot de Marseille. They're different. They are illustrated. And so this is just another kind of inquiry into more historical decks. So yeah. So I would say that that little section over there on my shelf is my love of historical tarot, and yeah, my, you know, sometimes I just like to nerd out on the tarot, and that's when I pull out those decks. And I tend to do that once a year for about 6 weeks or so. So yeah. So I'm going to go to the chat, and then we'll carry on. I'll check out the time too. Alrighty. Okay. So welcome. Oh, Anna's here. Anna Beatrice Herrera Gonzalez. Hello. Do I have the Mystic Mondays Tarot? I do not. So Michelle asked at 7:01 if I were selling any of these decks. And the answer is I will be. And I'll be posting those sometime in the future, and I'll let you know. And I might do a separate video of decks that I am actually selling. So Bix Tarot, good for kids. It's very cute. So yeah, Tamatha, hello. Thanks for dropping in here. Kyle says, if I was going to purchase a Marseille, it would be a La Corte de Tarocchi for sure. So, okay, so let's carry on. Oh, there's a few more down here. Okay, oh my goodness. Jonas Jouse, which, okay, so here's Marshmallow. And by the way, I have ordered Cyrene because I did. And I actually like the little Marshmallow Marseille. It's actually a really fun deck to travel with. So Jonas Jouse, which is in Galatian and is long, narrow cards, is based on the tarot of Jodorowsky. And it took me forever to order this deck. This is the Jodorowsky deck. It arrived just a couple of days ago. I believe I ordered it 6 months ago, and it just arrived, and they apologized, and they sent me this little tiny, I'll scoot up here, and I'm going to show you because I opened it. It is so cute. This little tiny, tiny mini deck. This is the smallest tarot deck that I have. The Yonasa Yaus is not available right now. I edged mine in purple. I don't know if you can see that, a dark, deep purple. And so what I was planning on doing is doing some kind of show and tell and a discussion of the Yonasa Yaus with the Jodorowsky Tarot de Marseille. So that's something else. You know, there's like so many videos a person can make, and like, I don't know how. There's a lot of people on TarotTube that constantly posting videos, and I find it takes so much time. So this is the little tiny, tiny, tiny one. So this is really little, and it's so cute. And I'm going to be traveling with this. This is going to stay out. It's going to be in my, look at those deep colors. I love the blues. And it's yeah, anyway, I'm really so happy. They sent me this little baby deck. Anyway, yeah. And that it's exciting. It was a lovely, lovely little surprise. And I ordered the wrong guidebook, or I misunderstood, and the guidebook I have is all in French, and there's no way I'll be able to tackle the guidebook. So I will be selling the little tiny, sorry, I will be selling the French guidebook. So if you want the French guidebook, let me know. Okay. And I haven't opened it, but I'm assuming it's in French because the back of the box is in French. Alrighty. Just gonna put tarot trees up there. So now we have a bunch of decks that are in bags. And then we have a bunch of misplaced decks that I threw down here. Okay, so let's do the bags. And that one goes there. These go up here. Okay. These are extra bags. Over in the corner here are all my Lenormand decks. I have like 22 of them or something. We're not going to be looking at those. And okay, so I don't have a lot of decks in bags because I find bags quite annoying. I showed this the other day. This is a gorgeous hand knit bag for the Pagan Otherworlds that was gifted to me by the lovely Isabel. And so Pagan Otherworlds is going to stay on my tarot shelf. I'm really enjoying reading with it. And so it's going to stay here. And then really quickly, I'm going to go through what I have in bags. And a lot of these got into bags because the boxes, I didn't like the boxes. So this is actually a gorgeous bag. I bought this as well as the reading cloth on Etsy a few years ago. And this is my trimmed copy of The Dreaming Way. This is the indie version of the Anna Kay. And if you want to see any of these, let me know. This is my Robin Wood. I think this is my Robin Wood. Yes. Robin Wood was my, and I have a video on this. Robin Wood was my first tarot deck that I used incessantly because I was not an RWS gal. This is, what is this? This is the bag that came with this deck here. Oh, actually, you know what? It's good I'm going through this because I'm going to be divesting some of these. Oh, this is the Arthurian Tarot. Oh, and I'm probably going to be releasing this deck. So because I like the Llewellyn, I'll just scoot over here. I love this Tower card. Oh my goodness. So Anna Maria Ferguson, Llewellyn Tarot. This is her earlier deck. And this one is very silvery as opposed to the Llewellyn, which is very gold. And the difference between this one and the Llewellyn is that you get a legend with every single card. So every minor also has a legend. This deck should probably go into the pile of fairy tale decks as I'm divesting fairy tale decks, because it's one of those decks where you can read the, you could use it as an RWS, but there is a backstory for every single card, which is, it's a bit much for me because I don't know all of them. So I'm going to actually get out the original box for this one and put this in the potential divesting pile. Okay. And this is the Happy Tarot and the Happy Tarot bag. So I'm actually going to be selling this one for sure with the bag. I never use it and I don't really like it. This is the Robin Coles. I love this deck. This is the Beautiful Rebellion. So Beautiful Rebellion. I really enjoy this deck. And it comes with an amazing guidebook. And in the guidebook for the Beautiful Rebellion, which I believe will be released again next year, you get the full painting And then you also get background on the painting as well as an inspirational message. What have we got in here? I think this is Trimmed Poppies deck. No, this is by Marielle. So, no, not Marielle. Sorry, Margaret Peterson. Margaret Peterson is not going anywhere. Margaret Peterson, I edged in brown and I trimmed it. And I also have a backup copy of Margaret Peterson because it is a deck that I love, 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 love. It's a personal deck that I work with frequently. This is the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, which is going out on the shelf in a bag that I made. Okay, so bags. And this is the Gaian Tarot. This is the Llewellyn version. And I think I did a side-by-side of the Llewellyn versus the, I think I did. And I gave away my shiver version. Okay. And that feels very much not like a fall deck to me. So that's going to stay there. This is a trimmed copy of Poppy Palin's deck. So it's in here because I do like to pull it out when people are struggling with court cards. I find that this deck works really well. And I trimmed mine on two sides. This death card is one of my favorite cards in the deck. And I use this deck for teaching quite a bit. And I edged it in purple. The Lumina Tarot is there, which is one deck that, you know, when I purchased it, there was an option for, sorry, not, did I say Lumina? Luna Soul. This is the Luna Soul. And when I purchased this, when it first came out, I believe there was a special, like you could buy 2 decks for a certain price, or something happened with my order. I can't remember. And so I gave away one of the copies, and I think it was that when I had 500 subscribers. So this one I trimmed, edged in gold. And this one has a very soft palette. And you know what? It is, I'm just looking, very good. It's kind of an interesting deck, but I never use it. And I think this can go on the divesting pile. It is trimmed, however, but it will come with the original box and the bag. So I'm going to move this one over here. Wow. So far I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 decks. At least 8. This is the Lumina, which, even though I'm not super crazy about it, is not going anywhere. This is the deck by Lauren Aletta. This is the Vision Quest in an amazing bag. So these are staying here. These boxes here are all 2-part boxes. Way Home Tarot, which I use all the time. Whenever I go out with my little basket, I take this deck everywhere I go. The Slow Tarot, which I've done a full walkthrough of. This is the Afro Tarot, which is my first, well, a second actually. I am so taken by Jessie Jumanji's Instagram page. And I am trying really hard to get in contact with her because I want to interview her. Her Instagram page is so amazing. And on her Instagram page, she has taken these faces and put them side by side with contemporary people and contemporary energies. And it's just such a pause for reflection. Look at that 3 of Cups. And this is my only all black, all African deck. Now, Dust to Onyx, I ordered the mini version, and unfortunately I shipped it to my, oh, look at that Page of Wands. So beautiful. Love it. I shipped it to my US Post Office box, and I have 6 or 7 decks that are sitting in the US of A that I cannot get to. King of Wands is absolutely stunning. Look at that color in the background. So I want to meet Jessie. I want to have her on my channel. I want to learn more about her backstory. I want to start working with this deck on a regular basis. And I'm just really intrigued. And I regret not buying her Animal Oracle deck at the same time. This is the Marigold Tarot, which I've talked about a couple of times. So the Marigold Tarot is based in the Punjab culture. And this deck is also, it's black and gold. Love the marigolds on the back of the cards. And if you like skulls, there's a lot of skulls in this deck. And if you want to learn something about the Punjab culture, Amrit Brar, who is the creator of this deck, is of that culture. He's Canadian, and it's got, I bought the extra guidebook that goes with it. And so that's another deck that I need to study a lot more. This is the indie version of the White Sage Tarot. I also have the White Sage Tarot in a tin, which I've done lots of videos on. And this is the Rosetta. And so the bag that the Arthurian was in came with the Rosetta. And the Rosetta is, I purchased because I want to study this so badly. This is just an incredibly intriguing deck. So I'm a language teacher. So before, way back when I was teaching school, language was my thing. I studied linguistics. I taught English as a second language, Japanese, French, beginner French. Japanese was my thing. Anyway, I'm just so intrigued with language. And this deck is, this is by M.M. Moline. So Tabula Mundi. And this is a Thoth-based deck, of course. And so I have pulled this deck out probably a grand total of 3 times, but I'm not giving this away. I want to keep this deck and study with this deck. And yeah, so it's just so amazing. Yeah. Anyway. And I love all the hieroglyphs around it. I don't find that frustrating in any way. I find it so intriguing, and it makes me want to just work harder to get to know it. And where's the little cheat sheet card? So that goes back. That's the back. The roses on the back of the Rosetta Tarot. And then underneath that is another RWS deck, and it's sitting in this pile because just of the shape of the box. And I probably don't need to keep this either. I think at one time I was looking for, this is the one with the kind of bronzy crackle backs. I was thinking about, and this one's in German. So I don't have any German clients, but it might be fun to pull that out if I had German clients. I was thinking that I needed to do a little more research into the different versions of the RWS, and that it might be, anyway, so that's not something that's happening right now. So I'm going to just do these other 2 decks right here, and then I'm going to check in with the chat. This is the Animal Wisdom Tarot, which I have done a video on, and this will be included in, I should pull it out actually. I should do that very, very soon, my Animal Tarot decks. going to put that down here as a reminder. And then the last one on the shelf is the Art of Love Tarot. And I trimmed this one. And I do have one of Tony Carmine Salerno's Oracle decks that I do tend to pair with this one. This one does have keywords. And if you like Tony's artwork and you would like a tarot deck to go with one of his, then, you know, it kind of fits in that. But again, I haven't used this for ages. I bought this on Valentine's Day, around Valentine's Day, the year that it came out. So yeah, this maybe. So I have trimmed it and etched it in gold. And if I do, you know what? I'm going to put it in the pile. I don't need it. I don't need it. So when I do the video on decks that I'm selling, I'm going to have I'll have gone through the Oracle decks as well too. Alrighty. So there we are. This is going to be a long video, and I'm going to do this because I need to go through this process myself. So if you're hanging in there, thanks for hanging in there. And okay. So I'm going to go back and just see what's going on here. Ooh, okay, so I'm back at 7:06. My Voice Tarot said she just got Corte de Tarot. So yeah, you're going to love it. It just feels so good in the hands. Ancestral Path. So Sissy, I already have shown Ancestral Path, and I may or not be keeping that deck. My next class. So I'm going to be starting, I'm in the process of editing my website. Hello. I'm in the process of editing my website, and I am putting up a shop. So the tarot classes will be up there very soon. There's going to be a court card class, and I'm going to do a new series called Read With Me. And there's been so much popularity with my deck combo videos that I've decided to do a class, or possibly a series of classes based on that. And it's going to be all about reading intuitively. So those will be up hopefully next week, and you'll be able to get a chance to look at that. So that's on my website, Integrative Healing with Sadhana.com. And so yeah, so I will post, once everything's up, I will let you know on my Thursday night tarot chat. Okay, so it'll be really soon, and the classes will be starting at the end of September or the beginning of October. Okay, so W. Wendy, hello. The Celtic Wisdom Tarot I do not have. So I don't have it, so I cannot comment on the system. So Michelle is loving this long video. So I don't know what time. It's 7:30. We've been on an hour and a half already. So I'm going to say we're going to be on at least 2 hours here. Ooh, okay. So Carlos might be interested in that. So like I said, when I'm going to go through this, I'm going to go through my Oracle closet, and then I will do a video on what I'm selling. So it might be a little while before this actually gets posted for sale, but it's going to happen because I don't need all these decks. All right, so top shelf. Here we go. Top shelf. I do need a drink of water. So we will not be looking at the bookshelf above because that'll be another video. Okay. So here we go, top shelf. And there's quite a few on here that probably I don't need either. Because, where's my notebook? I mentioned my P.O. box in the US. So if anyone who watches my channel lives in Blaine, Washington, will you let me know? Because I would like to give you permission to go and clear my P.O. box and just store everything for me. So it's not staying there. It doesn't feel, I don't want it sitting there. Okay, let's put that over there for now. So we're going to start over here, and I'm going to go to the, this is Everyday Witch, which is going to come out a little bit later, October. We're going to go over here to Tarot in a Tin. And there's a bunch of Hay House decks over here that are definitely going to be divested. Okay. Alrighty, there's a few rows back here. So Tarot in a Tin. I'm going to keep all of these just because they're so darn cute and it's just so fun to have tarots in a tin. So I have 6 because I have the Tarot de Maria Celia, which I already showed you. So I have Morgan Greer, I have Vanessa, and I have the Centennial, the White Sage, and the Halloween. And I have a request for anybody who was collecting way back when. I hear that originally the Vanessa came out as a full-size tarot deck and it was self-published by Leonard. Okay, I don't know if this is true or not. If anybody has, so, and I'll tell you why. Because I was a fan of the TV series Bewitched. Absolutely loved that TV series. And named one of my daughters after Samantha. And this deck reminds me of that TV series. And it reminds me of, I don't know, an era gone by. I mean, here's the 8 of Wands. But this deck is so little and the artwork gets lost in these tiny cards. So if I ever saw a full-size version of this deck, I would buy it. So 6 tarots in a tin. And then over here in this corner, I got to tell you, I will be parting with the Psychic Heart Tarot, the Guardian Angel Tarot, the Fairy Tarot. I don't know. So these 3 definitely I will be parting with. Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine, and this one is John Holland. Now, the reason I purchased the Psychic Heart Tarot, the Psychic Heart Tarot has chakra cards in it as well too, is because I went to, so way back in the day when Doreen was traveling around and doing angel workshops, I went to several of her workshops, and a lot of the oracle decks and the tarot decks were purchased at her workshops. And also I went to several John Holland events and was really intrigued with him as a psychic medium. And so that's why I purchased this deck, but I never use these and I will never use them again. And so these 3 decks are going into the divest pile. So there we go. That was easy. The Good Tarot, I am going to keep, and I edged mine in gold. And there's just something about this deck. Once in a while, I like to pull this out. And I love this Hermit card. I'm not going to show you cards from this deck, but it's, I don't know. I'm not ready to part with that one. So it's going to go back on the shelf. And then above that, and I'm going to scoot over and come closer to the camera, is Le Grand Circus and Sideshow. This one, which is a deck you would never see on YouTube. Look at the box. It's not cool. It's a US Games. It's an old US Games deck. I don't know how old. I also edged this one in red. And I don't know. There's something really sad about this deck. And also in the minors of this deck, and I have trimmed this one, each of the minor suits deals with a different aspect of the circus. And I feel like I don't want to get rid of this. I feel like there's something about this deck that has a potent lesson. And I want to go back to it from time to time and to review it and to work with the energies and lessons of the minors, because there's something there. And there's something about the understanding of the energy of the minors that is quite potent. And so that's going to stay on the shelf. I have both, from Quirk Publishing, I have both Zombie and Housewives, and they are really interesting conversational pieces. Zombie comes out at Halloween. Housewives Tarot comes out when it needs to come out. They are definitely both extremely quirky decks published by Quirk Books. And the tin decks go here. So with the divesting, I will be able to reorganize. Okay. This is the Czech version of the Shadowscapes Tarot, which has slightly larger images than Shadowscapes. So this is Shadowscapes, which I trimmed on 3 sides and edged in silver. And I'll show you, for those of you that don't have the larger cards, I'll just show you the difference in the size while I've got these out, because I know people have done that comparison video, and I don't find the Czech keywords troublesome at all. All right, so let's just pull out one card and we'll just do this. Okay, so check. So there you go. So you can see that the images are ever so slightly larger. I adore Shadowscapes, and I find it extremely healing and full of wisdom and magical energy, and I don't know, it's a pretty unique deck, and I'm waiting for the year that we get an anniversary deck and printed on Oracle size cards. That would just be so amazing. So amazing. Where did you go? So Shadowscapes is probably going to just go away for the season. Hard to put that deck away, but it can go away for a little while off the shelf. Illuminated playing cards. So for those of you that have Caitlin's, so this was based, this double pack was based on the tarot deck, which I don't have. And it comes with 2 different iterations of the tarot deck. Now this is a 52, I believe, card tarot deck. And so on some of the, I'm going to keep this because I think this is an interesting conversation for teaching. So for example, the Strength card is embodied in the Ace of Clubs. So the Ace of Wands. The Tower is the 6 of Clubs. And I love the colors on these 2 decks. So I'll show you the difference between the 2 decks. As opposed to the tarot deck. I'm sorry, I forget what the illuminated, I forget what the illuminated tarot is called. So it's really hard to tell the difference. I would have to do a side by side. So one is slightly lighter than the other, and it comes in a 2-pack, and the backs are different. So one back is gold and the other back is this bluey color. These are the illuminated playing cards. And it's really, there's a lot on the cards. It's actually kind of hard to play cards with these cards. I have some Lenormand decks that you can play cards with that I use. And I also use the Arcana playing cards, which I'll show you in a moment. But I don't think you could play cards with these because you couldn't play a playing card game like bridge or poker because there's just too much on the cards. But for tarot teaching, this is brilliant because it really evokes a certain kind of conversation that you wouldn't have with no other deck, and how the creator chose to put double meaning into certain cards is some are really quite brilliant and some are completely perplexing. So yeah. Okay, so moving on here. This is Osho Zen. So this is a box made by Bunny Kisses, who's on tarot too. And this is a trimmed version of the Osho Zen in this little drawer box. And I will not be getting rid of this because it also was one of my first decks. And I have the Russian version of the Victorian Fairy Tarot as well too. So, and I have done a video on this. It was a side-by-side video of the Russian version and the French version. And the color is slightly different. The card size is slightly different. And so if you don't care if you're reading Russian or French, I believe this one is still available on eBay. And it's cheap if you want to get your hands on the Victorian Fairy Tarot. That comes with no little book because you probably couldn't read it in Russian anyway, most of us anyway. So it's a kind of a crummy little box, but that's what that is. Next, World Tarot Mini. This is the Spiral Tarot, which I purchased because I was supposed to do a comparison with something and I totally forgot what I'm supposed to do a comparison with. So I'm going to keep it, but I don't remember why I have it because it's not a deck I would buy. So I was supposed to do some kind of a project with this and I can't remember what it is. So I have the Spiral Tarot there. And this was recently too. Somebody asked me to do this. And because it was not expensive, I purchased it and I was going to do that. Okay, so let's take out the wet hair. Okay, so now we're going to go over to, we're going to look at these piles here. Oh, these are more minis, but we can do this after. Okay, so Mystic Fairy. This is the version with the borders. I think I'm going to get rid of some of these. Crystal Visions Tarot, I have trimmed and edged, and I love the Suit of Fire. I love the Suit of Wands in this deck. And that's the only reason I would keep this deck. I love the dragons. Actually, I'm going to keep it because I'm hoping one day I'm going to find a dragon oracle that I love. And I know there's a couple new dragon oracles that are coming out. I saw them advertised on Amazon or somewhere. And so I am going to keep it. I hardly ever use it, but I love the dragon energy. So it's going to stay on my shelf. Oh, that was creative of me. I edged it in light purple, dark purple, light purple, dark purple. So it looks really pretty. What I wanted to pull out was this one. So this is the Spanish version of the Fairy Tale Tarot. And so I'm going to do a little bit of and I might do a video. So I'm going to do this one and the Arthurian and the Enchanted Tarot and decide which ones I'm going to keep because I definitely don't need to keep all of them. This is Sawyer's Path. I have done a video on this ages ago. So Jamie Sawyer's deck. You know, I did a video collection on my tattoo decks. And so in the to-go pile, The divesting pile is the 8 coins. And I'm definitely going to keep this one. There's something about this one, even though I don't love all of the cards. There's a little bit of crystal energy. There's a little bit of mermaid energy. I don't know. It's such a unique deck. I'm not going to give this away, even though I rarely crack the box open. Maybe another time. And then underneath that, I have Hidden Waters. So Hidden Waters is an Anatolian deck. This one is a really intriguing deck. If you like to read intuitively, and this is another one you don't see very often on YouTube. So I'm going to come up here. I did include this in one of my deck comparison videos. And it's kind of got, it's a little bit like the Luminous Void, but not really. And if you've never heard Anna talk about this, it's a pretty special story about how this deck was created, or why this deck was created. So, and this is such a unique deck. I believe makeplayingcards.com is where it's ordered through. So that is there. And then Sun and Moon Tarot. I've had so many people ask me about this deck. So I've recently purchased Sun and Moon, and I will, it's got really unique art. I will spend some time with Sun and Moon. I'm sure you know Sun and Moon. So that is another project. And I will not be getting rid of New Era elements. There's just too much juicy stuff in here. Love the multi-ethnic court cards. I like the bravery of Eleanor in some of the concepts that she decided to, how she decided to illustrate some of the cards, the challenging cards. I think the challenging cards are brilliant and brave. The Wooden Tarot is just so unique. Why would I get rid of it? Because it's just weird and wonderful at the same time. So it's going to stay here. These are all low Scarabeo decks, and I definitely don't need all of these. No, they're not. Stretch Tarot is on the top. So this is Joseph Stretch. This is from the UK. This is a collage deck. And I'm going to be putting this in the pile with the decks that I use for past life readings. It has a real, so if you have Victoria Mosley's deck, if you have Divine Muses, it has that feel, right? It has that, so where is, I'm going to put this with Ancestral Path because it's going to go in that decks that work with past life readings, and that's where it's going to go. Dreamkeeper's Tarot, I re-established a wonderful relationship with when I was doing the Gratitude Challenge and saw this deck in a whole new light. Really appreciate this one. Manga Tarot, I will be keeping, and I've done a video on this one because there's something really interesting with this is a card that also has seasons incorporated in it in a very unique way. And Japanese culture and I are pretty tight, and I find every time I pull this deck out, I learn something new. Rackham Tarot can go in the divesting pile. Even though I do like the art, I don't use it. So that's going to go there. Okay, so this is the tarot. So this is the Book of Thoth, the Atea Tarot. And the reason that I purchased this was for when I was going through the deck of the Bastard, I wanted to understand the compilation on the deck of the Bastard better. And so a lot of these cards are included in the deck of the Bastard. And I wanted to see the keywords. I wanted to understand what had gone into the creation of the deck of the Bastard. And so that's why I purchased this deck. And so this is part of, this is a study deck for me. And should probably go over there with the Tarot de Marseille decks. So I'm going to put it over there, because it's kind of part of the same project. John Bauer, I'm going to put it with the fairy tale decks. It's not fairy tale so per se, but it has that same kind of feeling. And I actually really like it. This was my first dark deck, and I never use it. It's going here. So it's really kind of intriguing. It's called Dark Angels, and it's going there. Wheel of the Year. This is a low Scarabeo deck. I'm not going to keep this one either. This was the first deck that I trimmed. Now, the reason I liked this deck, so I'm going to hop over again. Here's the Five of Pentacles. It's pretty cool, actually. And I loved this card. I think this was the reason I purchased the deck. This is the Four of Wands. So I have trimmed it. I actually bought it twice because I really wrecked up the first trimming job. That's the Six of Cups. And so it's pretty easy to read, but yeah, I will pass on this deck. So that's the Wheel of the Year. My kids are going to be so happy. Oh my God. They cannot believe how many cards I have. And they love to come and play with my cards, but they're just like, Mother, when you die, what are we going to do with all these? We're just going to take them to the thrift store. And I said, don't you dare ever do that, because anyway. Okay, so here is the other copy of the Pagan Tarot. So this is the one, and I'll check back with the chat in 1 second. So this is the one with the borders and the small little white book. So this one I will pass off, and I'll put the little white book back in the box. I tend to take out the little white books and I put all the little white books into another box that I have. So yeah. And then I have Crystal Tarot, which is so interesting. And this is another one that I need to study. It's so cool. I forget whose channel I saw this on, or it might have been on a Facebook page. And I don't know, it's the art. I haven't seen this. This is like a crazy beautiful deck. Unfortunately, it's got these ginormous borders. But it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. This would actually look, I might pull this out for fall. I love the colors, and the art is so mysterious. Okay, this one's going to come off the shelf. This is coming off the shelf. This is going to go out. All right, and then Tarot of the Magical Forest. So for those of you in the Tarot Tube community who watch Kelly Bear, you know this is her favorite deck. It has a really interesting color palette, and I did a video on the colors of the Tarot of the Magical Forest, and it's really cute, and I never use it. And I don't know if I should keep it or not. So I'll have to revisit that one. Don't know. Alrighty. Just soaring along there. Okay, so 10 people are watching now. I still have people watching. Long video, guys. I'm looking for my glasses. So I will find my glasses and then go back to the chat. Isn't that funny? I can't see them anywhere. Okay. So I will look for the glasses and then go back and say hi to anyone else who's still here. Alrighty, so I will find my glasses in this pile. Look where they are. So as far as mini decks go, these are the other little tiny decks that I have. And Tarot Trees. Oh, you guys are talking about how late it is, what time of day it is. So, okay. You know what? I'm actually going to sell my Tarot of Trees. And I'm going to tell you why. I wish this deck didn't have... I wish this deck was just trees. I really do. And the cards that are just trees, which tend to be the Suit of Wands. I'm going to come up here. So the cards that are just trees, like here's the Chariot and the Moon. And so in the Suit of Wands, it's just trees. But in the Suit of Swords, we have swords. So there's another sword card. It's just so weird to me to have swords in this. There's the Page of Wands, just beautiful. Pentacles have pentacles all over the trees. And there's swords. And beautiful World card. And the Empress. But I don't really like this. I don't like the cups in the tree card. And I tried to work with this. I have the extra guidebook. And so I will be selling the Tarot Trees with the extra guidebook. And I do wish, yeah, that was my wish for that card, that deck. These are the Arcana playing cards, which I actually do. I use this, and it's really fun. I use this with my family sometimes when we're playing cards, and just take out the majors. I love this deck. This is by Dead on Paper. And so it's a straight up playing card deck, poker deck. And then it has illustrated court cards, which are all over the floor now, and illustrated majors. So, and it's poker size. It is amazing card stock. And because I loved the card stock so much, I purchased more playing cards from Dead on Paper. So these are playing cards here. So I also purchased this one, which has the Ouija board on it. And I purchased the Zodiac cards as well too. So this one you can use as a tarot deck because it has the, I'm going to have to deal with that later, because it has the illustrated court cards as well as the the majors. Black Lily Tarot, not to be confused with Lily Black Tarot. Black Lily. So this is a little deck by Aya Rosen that is printed on Game Crafter. And it is, what is it? There's something so captivating in the artwork. And I looked at it many, many times on Kasha's, I think it was Kasha did a video on Tarot Map. And there's just something really, I don't know, energetically captivating about the artwork. The emotions. There's something about the emotions. And so that's why I decided to purchase this deck. And looks like he's smelling his armpit. Yeah. So this is a deck that I recently acquired, and I'm going to see what comes up for it with me. Knight of Wands. And it's little. So I have a feeling of all the little decks that I have, this one is gonna make its way into my little travel pouch. The Enchantment Tarot I adore, and it comes out multiple times a year. Occasionally I use it for client readings, but not so much. This is just another copy of the Enchantment Tarot. I was considering trimming it. That's why I purchased another copy. So I'm going to put it there and think about trimming it. Okay, so here we go. Almost done. And I'm not going to open all of these boxes. I have the fountain, which I am keeping and really feel that it has its place in tarot. It is it's a great deck to read with guys, and it has I don't know, like at first of all I thought it was a very cold deck, and I did not, as I said, I wasn't going to pull all these out. There's something haunting about this deck, and there's also a great deal of energy in this deck, and I'm going to be keeping this. I believe I talked about this in a deck combo video, because so many people I know have a challenging time reading with it and dismissed it quite quickly. Oh, Star Spinner. If I could get rid of the Suit of Wands, I would love this deck. But I don't like the Suit of Wands. And the Suit of Wands is so goofy. And I love the rest of the deck. Yeah, so I'm not sure that I'm going to be keeping this one because I can't deal with the Suit of Wands and the Star Spinner. And I'll put a card above. I did a side-by-side of this deck with the Stunning Tarot. And so if you want to see a full walkthrough of these two decks, I did a side-by-side. I'm keeping the Stunning, and yeah. So a lot of these decks here I use frequently. This is the Textured Tarot, which is really banged up. The Way of the Panda Tarot, I will keep because, except for the Devil card, there are no scary cards in this deck. And it is, I think it's a really gentle deck as far as, and it's got such a beautiful sense of humor, just like Kimberly, who created this deck. So the Way of the Panda is staying here. The Ophidia Rosa, as well as the two Oracle decks, I probably will be letting go of. And the reason I'm letting go of them is because I so wish Nicole had included that plant medicine energy in the decks, and she didn't. And I have so many great plant decks that I Yeah, I don't need them. And this is another one. I bought this for a particular 11-year-old that I was doing tarot readings with, and I haven't used it since, and I don't particularly like it. So the Crystal Unicorn Tarot, it is an indie deck, will be going for sale. This is Everyday Witch. Usually it's in a bag, and it will come out for the Halloween season. I tend to bring it out for the Halloween season. I don't use it all year long. And then I'll pull out the Everyday Witch Oracle cards. And I have done a video of both the Oracle cards and the tarot deck together in the same video. So that is on my channel. Lily White and Lily Black, I use all the time. All the time. They're slightly different decks, and I love them. I love them so much. I can't say enough. Did you know also this deck's coming out as a mini by the end of this year? So yeah, so they're like favorite standard decks that I will never be parting with. Okay, so Dame Darcy's decks, I have the Mermaid and Queen Alice, which I will be keeping. I wish Queen Alice was matte, not shiny, but it is shiny. And I did 2 videos on this deck, right? So that's how much I love Alice in Wonderland. And the Mermaid Tarot it's beautiful, beautiful cards. And I purchased it for my birthday one year. And so it has sentimental meaning to me. And yeah, so that's the Mermaid Tarot. Lonely Dreamer is a new acquisition, and it is right here. And I did a full video recently on it, and it is hauntingly beautiful. And the one comment about this deck, which I kind of sort of agree with, now they are hidden in the background, but the comment was, I wish that the artwork stood alone. So Redon's artwork stood alone, and that the creator hadn't put the cups in the background and so forth. And so here's, look at the star card. Like the coloring on this card it's so beautiful, so amazing. So I love the colors in this deck. And it's still fairly new to me, so it's going to stay on the tarot shelf. Alrighty. Naked Heart. Love. This is not the current version. This is a slightly older version with a thicker guidebook, and I've talked about this deck many times, and I will be keeping this. I love the way that this deck can be integrated with so many other decks because of all the white space. It has beautiful cardstock. And I will be keeping that one. Presently, this is my only Baba Studios deck. It's the Alice deck, and I love it. And I love the extended guidebook. The Hush Tarot, I have kind of a mixed feelings about the Hush Tarot. I included the Hush Tarot in a recent not side-by-side deck combo video, and I could not believe what came out of a couple of readings. I would not feel comfortable using the Hush Tarot with clients. I will continue to explore this deck. It has humans and animals on it, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So I feel like this is still a work in progress for me. Both Spirit Song and Crow Tarot are going to stay in my collection. I feel that so Spirit Song is one of the only animal decks that has no cups or swords or anything on it. It's only animals, and there's 78 different animals. It does have keywords, which is problematic for some people, but I like it. Yes, I do wish it was a little more saturated, but it is what it is. The Crow Tarot is a great reader, and it is, I'm going to keep the Crow Tarot. The Hush is highly questionable. I'm going to put it over there. All right. Dark Mansion. I don't love it. I do not love it. I love the colors in the cards. I love the card backs. I love the deep saturation of colors. I love the I just I don't know. I mean, as far as collectability goes, it's probably a great deck to have in my collection. But at this point, there's got to be a reason why a deck stays in my collection. And I don't really have a good reason to keep the Dark Mansion Tarot. I don't even feel like it is like a deck that I would pull out at Halloween. So I might be selling that one. Okay. So this is really interesting. I had no idea that there would be so many decks in the potential sell pile. All right, and then the final corner over here, Tarot of the Wild Unknown, the Wild Unknown Tarot, Sasarai Bito, and This Might Hurt. So Sasarai Bito is a deck I will never sell or get rid of. It's got some really magical things going on in there. This Might Hurt is one of the most versatile, truthful, diverse, easy reading, accurate reading decks in my collection, and I use this all the time. Alrighty. These two here, so this is Guardian and Spirit Within. This is the Hesychos Tarot and the Mons Tarot. And the Hesychos I have shown a few times in like a fairy collection video. We talked about Guardian last Thursday night. So if you want to hear me talk about the Guardian Tarot, most recent video I talked about it was last Thursday. Spirit Within is another great diverse deck, and it is all in silhouette. So it's also a great deck to read with guys as well too. Hesychos is out of print and it's very charming. Now, the only question I have here is the Mons Tarot. Oh my goodness. And you know, I coveted this deck for a long time. And then I got it. And it's like, well, do I really need this deck? And it's really cute. It's really cute, but I'm not sure that I need this deck either. So we'll see. And of course, I will be revisiting these piles. All right, over here, let me back up. Oh my goodness, this is really unexpected. Really unexpected. What is unexpected is that I'm getting rid of so many decks. Okay, so this is the Ember and Aura Awakening Edition, which I will be keeping. And I have shown a few times on my channel. Tarot of the She, which I work with all the time. Tarot of the She is on my reading card there, but we'll see if I'm not going to get to organizing my acrylic thing tonight. That might be a whole other video because this took much longer than I ever imagined. 5 Cent Tarot is new to my collection, and I will be doing more with it on my channel, but I'm really kind of intrigued and happy with it. I think the Muse Tarot has its place, and even though it's not a deck I use often, there is a particular niche for the energy of this deck, and so I will be keeping that one. All right, now the Stolen Child Tarot is based on the William Butler Yeats poem, The Stolen Child. And the deck creator, so if you go to the website of the deck creator, you can see the background of how the deck was built. And I didn't prepare it for this video, but the deck that this deck was based upon is a very special deck. And I'm going to keep this because at some point I want to go into the background story of this deck and do a little bit of study. But if I never get to that, I will be releasing The Stolen Child. Okay. Fularkos is on my altar, and I'm so happy working with this deck. Moonchild, I no longer use. I used it a bit. So I used it for moon readings and so forth when I first got it. And I'm not sure. Oh, it's out. I had it out the other day because I was thinking about it. It has a few extra cards. It's a really interesting collage deck. I do not have the Star Child. And so this might be another one that I am divesting. So yeah, so there we go. And then there are 5 more. So this is my trimmed copy of the Druid Craft, which is on this rack right now, which is a great deck to have out for fall and actually pretty much any time of the year. I absolutely love the Druid Craft. The Urban Tarot. Now, much like Poppy, I mean, it's different. And I know there's some controversial cards in the Urban Tarot that have recently been brought to my attention. And I know because of the, this was one of the first decks that was so openly gay and queer and has the energy of New York City. I mean, just the 8 of Wands as the delivery person, there's some really, this deck definitely has its place. The controversy, I believe, came in the deck with the orange, the card with the orange jumpsuit. And with the awareness of Black Lives Matter and stereotypes and all of that. Let's see if I can find the card. I totally understand. And so perhaps that would be a reason to remove that particular card from this deck. Oh, this is one of my favorite cards too. The Queen of Wands as the public defender. I really like that card. So I'm just going to find, so yeah, so this is the problematic card. And so can you remove one card from a deck and still use the deck? I don't know. But at this point, I need to do a little bit of reflection, and I want to thank the tarot tuber who brought that to my attention, because that was not in my mind. And so yeah, so I need to reflect on that a little bit. Then I have the Luminous Void Tarot, which I will be selling. And these 2 little decks are both from a publisher called Fournier. And I purchased the Labyrinth Tarot, which I've talked about quite a few times, as a, so this was tasked to do with past life readings. And when I do past life readings, I'm looking for cards that show either a variety of cultures and times and eras, or are timeless. And I really felt like the Labyrinth falls into that timeless category. And I was also able to purchase the extra guidebook through a secondhand bookseller. And so I'm going to put this with the pile of past life reading decks and just review that as well too. And then the very, very last one is Tarot Familiar, which is a deck that was recommended by one of you. And I have a feeling that I'm going to put this out for this season right now. The cats, it's definitely has a lot of cats in it, and I don't have that deck. I'm just going to scoot over here because this is not a one. It's fairly old deck, and it's not one that was in my that I knew about, and so so I just wanted to. I'm going to put this with the animal decks when I redo my animal video. Look at that. I'm just checking that I'm in the screen here. The Chariot. So there's something kind of magical and very Halloweeny about this deck. So I'm going to definitely have this one out for this season. Love the unicorns, the owls. And it is a pip deck as well too. So yeah. All right. I'm going to check in with TarotTube and see if anybody's still here. Oh my God, there's still people here. Holy cow. You guys are patient. You guys are patient. This has been a lot of fun. And I'm just, oh, Ange is here. Hello, Ange. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, I'm going to go back and just check in with the chat. Oh my goodness. Where do I need to go back to? Okay, so Alana Ned, the New Era Tarot, I find perfect for shadow work. Yeah, I find there's bravery in that deck, and there's something, when I first got it and I was watching other people's reviews, people said things like it was too harsh, it was too much. But if you read Eleanor's guidebook and you sit with the cards, there's a lot that can come forth. And of course, if any of those cards are going to trigger a client, I wouldn't use it. But I think there's something really, really brilliant there. Hello, Viola. Okay, yeah. The time concept, we're all over the world. It's so interesting how we can join together for this. My Voice Tarot says, I love how my present is your future or your past, yet we're all in the present. That's so, so true. So brilliant. I love that. W. Wendy's asked about the Tarot of Trees. Is it the third edition? Is it the third edition? It is the third edition. The Tarot of Trees is the third edition. Okay. Okay, so I'm not the only one who doesn't like the swords and stuff in the Tarot of Trees. Okay. You guys are so funny. Oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. Okay, so I definitely will be narrowing this down and figuring out what I'm going to do about all these decks shortly. Okay, I love them on. Oh, some people love the Mons Tarot, which is cool. Some people love the Stolen Child. Sunny says, has anyone acknowledged that this is a perfectly Mars retrograde topic? Nobody has said that. That is so brilliant, Sunny. Thank you for sharing that. That's great. All right, Moonchild, Starchild. Kyle says, I love the Urban Tarot and thought the Tower card that got fixed was a controversial one. So it's the Oppression card. Yeah, the Oppression card is the controversial one. You know, I think in the Urban Tarot, I'm thinking like the kindergarten teacher. So I might do something with the deck, you know, like cut it up and use it as an oracle or something, and then take out the controversial cards, because there's so many good cards in that deck. And it's unfortunate, you know, when there's decks that there's cards that need to be removed. Oh, yes, there are two people in Tarot Familiar. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Okay, Sunita, hello. Hello to Sunita. All right. It's a pocketbook retrograde. Hello, Darcy. Oh, Darcy has the indie and the US Games version. So there we are. Okay, so this is my mess, and I can shift the camera down here because well, you've actually seen all these cards that are in the acrylic shelf. So now I need to clean up this mess, and I'm going to put the maybes for sale into a box, and then reorganize my shelf for the live readings for next Tuesday. And then I'll do the oracle cards, and then I will do the sale. So the sale definitely will not be up for, I would say, 5 or 6 days. So just make a list and make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that little bell so you know when I'm doing the sale. And then I probably won't do the sale live, but I'll do a video of everything that's for. I will do a live video, but I won't be selling live, and then we can figure out all of that. Okay. So thanks so much for being here tonight. It's been fun. Namaste and stay well, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.